Welcome everyone. Race 19 of 21, or 19 of 36 for the Darkside Mustangs A Square Cup Series season. Wanzing and Gaiman have set lap times already. Gaiman's actually on his second lap now. Brea just went third fastest. Brea only running a 31.36. Terry Gabbard fourth on track at the moment. He'll go third fastest, 30.92. Second lap in the books. Not faster, so he'll sit third fastest still. Only four drivers set lap times at the moment. Jason Alexander has begun to roll. Alexander goes fourth fastest on his first time lap. 31.22 for Alexander. Second lap. Same as the first. He will not get any better. Got Feimster on a lap now. Number one machine. First lap, he slots in same time as Jason Alexander. Justin Painter goes up to third fastest. James Kerr up to fifth. Now lap times are starting to come in force. So for Gaiman and Wanzing, it's a hurry up and wait situation. as they currently sit in the front row spots. Blankenship up to second now. He jumps over Wanzing. Like Bradley right next as he's about to start his first lap here. First lap in the books for Bradley Wright. What does it put him? It puts him only 15th, 31.27. So he tagged the wall and invalidated that second lap, so he will stay 15th. And now up to 10th fastest. Did he improve? He did not. He'll stay 10th. First lap in the books for Catania. Puts him 18th fastest. See if he can improve on the second lap. Not many have. Alrighty, time for heat race number 1. Get underway. Here's what heat race number 1 looks like. Bren Roberts will be on the front row alongside Toby Estes. Brandon Federplace, Thomas Andrews will make up row number 2. Row 3 is Kevin Feemster and Jonathan Hohenbrink. Row 4, Jason Alexander and Jeremy Breo. Row 5, Matthew Bounds and Tommy Withers with Tommy Reynolds rounding out the field of 11 for heat race number 1. Top 6 transfer to the main event. From this heat, they will determine the inside of rows 2 through 7 on the starting group. Alrighty. Magic Mile. Here we go. 10-lap heat race to determine the positions on the inside of rows 2 through 7. We're underway. Heat races are typically chaos. Roberts off to an early lead. Then it's Estes, Fetter Place, Andrews, Feimster, and Homebrink top 6. Fetter Place battling with Estes. Fetter Place on the inside, Estes on the outside. That was Andrews drifting way wide. He'll get jumped by multiple positions. He'll lose at least one spot, maybe more. Andrews struggling. Feimster struggling on the outside lane. Jason Alexander's going to try to claw his way up. That's around Jeremy Breo. That's Fetter Place that is spun. And more cars involved. Estes and Fetter Place both spun. Andrews got a piece of it, and so did Jason Alexander. Here's what happened to Estes in Fetter Place. Ooh, both of them got together, and neither could completely save it. Oh, there's another car spun. That's Feimster. And he tagged the inside wall. He'll drop down to 7th. So by process of just surviving, Jeremy Breo's up to 2nd place in heat race number 1. So Breo holds on to 2nd. Bounds is in 3rd. Holding on to 3rd with Tommy Withers in tow. Battle for 5th between Homebrink and Fetter Place. And Homebrink's been spun around by Fetter Place. Alexander up to 6th. Fetter Place to 5th. Bounds has been passed for 4th, but right now still safely in the transfer zone. Withers sitting in 3rd. There's 3rd, 4th, and 5th right in your screen under a blanket. Then 6th place a little bit further back. There's Jeremy Breo in 2nd place. But it's Bryn Roberts that has been leading the way. So it seems like it's largely sort of balanced itself out. Fetter Place is up to 4th. Bounds in 5th. Alexander sitting in 6th. Then it's Homebrink coming out of turn 4 here with 2 to go. And sitting in 7th. Feimster's a lap down. Andrews is 2 down. Estes is 2 down. Roberts just took the white flag, so 1 lap to go in heat race number 1. So Roberts wins heat race number 1. Then it's Breo, Fetter Place, Bounds, Alexander, and Hohenbrink to round out those that'll transfer in. Alrighty. Here's grid number 2. It's Wanzing, Painter, row 1, Gabbard and Pinnell, row 2, Kerr and Smeal, row 3, row 4, Bradley Wright and Tristan Catania, Nick Fisher and Patrick Allen make up the row 5, 9th and 10th here, as we get ready to go at it. How's it going? Dealing with a migraine from the rain. It's been storming here. Everyone getting ready here. So Wanzing will line up alongside Painter, Gabbard and Pinnell, Kerr, Smeal, Wright, Catania. Fisher will be 9th. I believe Allen has not taken the start here. So only 9 will take part in this heat race. Top 6 transfer. Alrighty. Green flag, heat race number 2 is out. Really good jump there for Gabbard in the 4 as they sail it off into turn 1 here. Gabbard gets a little bit tight. Painter's going to take 2nd. Wanzing for 3rd. Probably right almost tied the wall. He's sitting in 6th. Then it's Catania 7th, Fisher 8th, 9th is John Smeal. He's already spun. So Wanzing is spun, as you just saw there. So that gives Painter the lead, with Ryan Pinnell sitting 2nd, but it's a dog pile behind him. Because there's Gabbard, Kerr, and Wright all sitting right behind him, as well as Catania. As Painter gets away, this battle for second is getting a little bit intense. Everyone in this battle transfers as it sits at the moment, because it's second through sixth. That's where you need to be. How aggressive do they decide to be? How aggressive do they get here to start things off? Right now, Pinnell holds on to second. Gabbard runs a little bit high. Kerr follows him up. Gabbard almost gets loose and loses it. He'll lose spots, but he keeps it well under control here. Good save by Gabbard. He'll drop down to 6 behind Catania. And now the battle for third commences between Kerr and Wright. Battle for third still. Kerr's lost third to Wright, but Kerr on the outside. Well, Kerr's on the inside. Wright's on the outside. And Kerr's going to loop it. So Garrett back to fourth. Tani at fifth. Kerr in sixth. He'll lose a spot to Wanzing. Painter still leads over Pinnell. Bradley Wright now has to be the one to handle the pressure. So Wright sits third, but it's a distant third from Pinnell. With 2 to go, this is the battle for fourth place between Gabbard and Catania. Wanzing's at 6, Kerr in 7th, Smeal 8th, Fisher in 9th. One lap to go for heat race number 2. There's Painter in front. Pinnell again sitting second. Bradley Wright third. Fourth for Gabbard. Fifth for Catania. Sixth for Wanzing. All the way back here. But it'll be Dustin Painter who wins heat race number 2. Alrighty, now it's the last chance qualifier. Feimster and Kerr on row 1. Withers Smeal row 2. Andrews and Fisher row 3. Estes and Allen are row 4. Reynolds row 5. Allen and Reynolds did not race in their first heat races. I don't believe they're going to be racing in this one as well. Alrighty, here we go. It'll be a 12-lap last chance qualifier to determine everyone positions 15th on down. Everyone participating in this last chance qualifier will be able to race in the main event. It's just a matter of where you qualify here. Alrighty, 7 cars on the grid for this one. Which means it looks like we'll have 23 cars for the main event tonight. Green flag in the air, 12 laps to determine where everyone's going to start 15th on down. It's Kerr and Feemster. Kerr with a little bit of an edge over Feemster at the moment. The outside line has a little bit of an advantage. That's Smeal racing side by side with Feemster. They make contact. They keep it straight. But Smeal takes second, and he'll look to the inside. As that's Kerr that's tagged the wall. Smeal to the lead here in the last chance qualifier. And that's Fisher that's was spun off. And he's tagged the wall hard. Fun little battle here between Smeal, Feemster, and Kerr. Withers and Estes side by side further back. Little wide for Smeal, but Feemster couldn't take advantage the way he wanted to. He's had to try to get a run out of turn 2. Almost went a little bit too wide. 6 cars under a blanket. There's a car that's tagged the wall. It's 2 cars. That's Kerr and Feemster that have gotten together. Giving Smeal plenty of an advantage over Estes, Withers, and Andrews. Fisher's in pit lane after his incident. Assuming it's going to be last chance qualifier done and dusted for Feemster and Kerr. Out of turn 2, they're going to into turns 3 and 4. There's 7 to go. Now the cars are out of the way, Estes is closing in quickly on Smeal. Looks like Withers has had an accident. He has. So the battle for the top is really between these two. Andrews sits 4 seconds back. 6 to go. Smeal still battling side by side with Estes. A good over-under. And fastest has been turned. So is Smeal. And Andrews is at that too. What did we just see? Beamster's back in the lead of this race. Andrews is struggling, but he's at second, then Kerr's in third. And Andrews is wounded. So Feimster with 4 to go has a 3.2 second lead. So presumably that this doesn't change, she'll end up starting 15th for the main event. Coming to the white flag, Feimster just has to bring it home, but Kerr is catching up quickly. Feimster wins the last chance qualifier. Kerr will be second. Andrews will finish third. S is fourth. And Fisher in fifth. And he hits the wall again hard, but he'll finish fifth in this last chance qualifier. Alrighty, now it's time for the warm-up here. 5 minutes until we begin racing here at New Hampshire. Alrighty, everybody. It's Loudon 151 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 1.058 miles. It's the magic mile here in New Hampshire. 150 laps, 151 miles will be run here this evening. Starting grid for this race is Joshua Gaiman on pole. Alongside him is Jacob Blankenship on the front row. Bryn Roberts and Dustin Painter will make up row number 2. Jimmy Breo and Ryan Pinnell will make up row 3. Row 4 is composed of Brandon Fetterplace and Bradley Wright. Row 5, Matthew Bounds and Terry Gabbard. Row 6, Jason Alexander and Tristan Catania will make up that row to round out the top 12. Looking further down the rest of the field, Jonathan Hohenbrink lines up alongside Seth Wanzing. Kevin Feemster and James Kerr are in row 8. Row 9's Thomas Andrews and Toby Estes. Row 10, Nick Fisher and John Smeal line up alongside each other there. Tommy Withers will be in 21st. Patrick Allen and Tommy Reynolds will not take part in the start. Actually, Patrick Allen will take part in the start. There he is. So 22 cars at the start of this race. He just skipped the heat races. In that number 45, Coke Zero machine. As we get ready to run here. The 22 cars, 151 laps. Stage 1 for this event ends on lap 35. Lap 35, lap 70 for stage breaks. So first couple stages are sprint races almost, and then everyone has to settle down and get into a groove for stage 3 here at New Hampshire. Checkered green flags in the air. We're racing at New Hampshire. It's Gaiman and Blankenship leading us to the turn 1 and 2. There's Bryn Roberts going after it, and then number 58 machine. So far, so peaceful. Lap 1 about to be in the books here in New Hampshire. It's Gaiman, and then Roberts up a spot, then Blankenship, Breo, Painter, and Fetterplace. Top 6. That's a car spun. It's Matthew Bounds, but he's on his own. Good look here at the Magic Mile, the 1 mile oval in New Hampshire. Side by side, Gaiman and Roberts. Roberts to the inside. He'll clear Gaiman. Good look from where we sit here. Oh no, Roberts is spun in front of the leaders. He is spun in front of everybody. Caution comes out. And he's not the only one. Thomas Andrews and James Kerr are also involved further down the road. So caution number 1 is out, started by Bryn Roberts, who spun on his own. Here's what happened. Did he have help? That's the big question. Doesn't look like it. A little loose and overcorrected. Gaiman got a little piece of it. Not sure what happened there with James Kerr. Seems like he got loose doing something else. What happened to Kerr? Oh no, he got tagged by Alexander. Jason Alexander tagged him and sent him around. Because Kerr was trying to save it, couldn't save it, and then got tagged by Andrews there on the side. Under our first caution of the race, Josh Gaiman leads ahead of Jacob Blankenship, Jeremy Breo, and Dustin Painter. Brandon Fetterplace up in 5th place. Ryan Pinnell's up to 6th. And it's Bradley Wright, Terry Gabbard, Jonathan Hohenbrink, and Seth Wansing. We are 1 to green here as we get ready to go back at it. Gaiman chose the outside lane, Gabe Blankenship the inside for the start. Gaiman still has the control line as he is the race leader. New look for Jacob Blankenship. Jeremy Breo sits in that Taco Bell machine. And then number 74, Dustin Painter in the Liberty University, number 65. Better place, the Bang Energy 80. A new look for Ryan Pinnell, the Texaco Haviline, number 12. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again. But Gaiman got off to a really good launch. Now it's all about who can get a run after them. Better place. Now that was Painter that almost got put into the wall. As further back, you see the scramble for positions. Entering turn 3, almost 4 wide at its spots. That was Feemster and Catania that were up really high. But now it's running drop backwards here a little bit. Stuck on the outside line, bounding with Terry Gabbard. Seth Wansey in the 9 behind them. That's Jonathan Hohenbrink in the 20. That's trouble. Gabbard and Pinnell. And the second yellow comes out. Here's what happened. At a 2. Oh, it looks like Pinnell got a little bit loose and tagged Gabbard. Is what it looked like there. We'll slow it down here, see if I can get a better angle of it. Slow motion. They both kind of came into each other. Gabbard was going up because he was exiting the corner, and Pinnell got loose coming down. So Pinnell come in, Gabbard comes in. Race leader Joshua Gaiman stays out. Under a second caution of the race on lap 10. Getting ready to go back green here after the second caution of the race. Ryan Pinnell still on pit lane. So it looked like a promising start for the 12 machine, and it's gone down in a hurry. He's at least one lap down. Only positive so far as he's the only car not on the lead lap of 22 starters. Green flag back to the air. It's game with another really good run over Blankenship and Painter. Brayo sitting fourth, Bradley Wright sitting in fifth as they come out of turn two. Problem with Nicholas Fisher, and that's what it is. Gaiman still leads. That's Honebrink. He's off on the grass. It won't throw a yellow. But from the top 10 to 20th spot, he'll go. Right now in pit lane, so he's had more problems. Fisher running up high, trying to stay out of the leader's way. He'll go a lap down here. That's Honebrink exiting pit lane. But so far we're getting some green flag running in. We're approaching lap 17. Stage break for stage 1 is on lap 35. I think everyone's beginning to kind of settle down a little bit as we get ready here. And the caution has come out for, but looks like Catania is part of it. Fish is part of it. There's Withers. Andrews is involved as well. What happened here? Here's what happened. Catania and Andrews together. Catania is already battling a loose car and he just gets run over. Andrews got a piece of it. So third caution of the race on lap 19 here in New Hampshire. It's going to be a rough one. Everyone tries to figure out this 1 mile oval. Coming to 1 lap to green here in New Hampshire after our third caution of the evening so far, involving Tristan Catania, Thomas Andrews, and a couple others. Ryan Pennell has rejoined, but he is multiple laps down now. As you're ready to go back at it, it is Gaiman and Blankenship, row 1, green flag back in the air. We're racing at New Hampshire. Gaiman again, another really good start. Getting a lot of good practice at those starts. As everyone goes through turns 1 and 2 pretty safe that time. Seemed like we were beginning to get a decent run going when that caution came out. So we'll see if we can put up another good run here, at least to get to the end of stage 1 on lap 35. Battle further back, that's Bradley Wright and Brennan Roberts. I believe it's in a battle 3 wide with Jeremy Brea. Roberts overshoots it. Riley switches to the bottom. Still side by side, Brea and Roberts. They came together at the final lap at Atlanta last week. Almost came together there. Roberts will take away the 5th spot. So Breo struggling to keep Riley right behind. Toby Estes is right there as well. The 18 on the right, the 19 of Estes, the 9 of Wanzing on the back of the 74 of Breo, who almost lost it. Good recovery by Breo, but he will lose at least one spot out of it, maybe two. He will lose two, as the Bluegrass Bandits cars kind of box him out. He'll slip down to 8th place. Wanzing sits in 9th, 10th for James Kerr in that 75 machine. Just a little bit further back, that's Riley! Riley right, and Breo goes for a wild ride, and he will slide down, and yellow comes out as everyone tries to avoid him. Somehow that wasn't worse than it could have been. Really good avoidance by everybody, but yellow flag comes out for the 4th time. That was a wild one. So we'll take a deep look at it here. So this is Riley Wright, who gets super loose. Toby Estes tags Breo. Breo goes for a wild ride. Somehow everyone saved it. But that was a wild ride for Jeremy Breo. For everyone to largely get away from that unscathed. There's Breo coming down pit lane. Check to see if he's got any damage and probably get a new set of pants. So in our 4th caution of the race, approaching the end of stage 1, we will go back to green before stage 1 comes to an end. Alright, so here we go back racing here. We should have, I believe, 4 laps until the end of stage 1. Green flag back in the air. It's game in the Blankenship still. 1-2 here to start off the Loudon 151. Gaiman again, a really good jump. Painter sits third. Fourth is the battle between Roberts and Better Place, and there's another yellow. And Brea's a part of it, and not so fortunate this time to get away with it. There's Catania. Ryan Pinnell was a part of it. So this will end stage 1. Here's what happened. Going into turn 1. Looks like that's John Smeal. He got loose first, and Dog Pilot became. Radioactive's going to be interesting, because that was 3 of the Team Sideswipe cars in one go. This will be how stage 1 ends under our 5th caution of the race. So it looks like Brightwood did not beat the pace car out, so he will go a lap down here. And he has to let everyone by. So his stage 2 will start off pretty rough here when we get back going. Alrighty, about to go back green here. Start stage number 2. It's Gaiman, Better Place, Painter, Kerr, Feemster, Gabbard, Bounds, Estes, Smeal, and Blankenship top 10. And away we go. Gaiman once again with a really good launch. The Gaiman leads over Fetter Place and Painter. Kerr sitting in fourth. Here's the battle near the edge of the top 10 and on downwards here. And he's been turned by Roberts. That's not a yellow. Almost was, but everyone got through. The Gaiman still leads. Fetter Place is having to defend from Painter. Beamster's in pit lane. So here's the battle for second place between Fetter Place and Painter. Estes sitting in fourth. Kerr sitting in fifth. Wanding sitting in sixth. Trying to get that green flag run going for stage 2. Stage 1, a bit of an exploration phase for everybody. But now it's largely out of the way. 17 cars on the lead lap. Playing into the last car on the lead lap. Estes trying to get around Painter. That's the battle for third. Estes will take third away. Painter will drop to fourth. James Kerr in fifth, running up the top 5. For Painter, pretty familiar with this track. He's pretty big on the modifieds. This is one of their largest venues that they go to. So some muscle memory and some familiarity with those cars here. Keeping him propped up in the top 5 pretty securely at the moment as he chases down Fetter Place once again as Estes takes second place away. Estes up 16 spots from where he started this race in. Now he's got to chase down Joshua Gaiman. Wanzing trying to get around James Kerr. 2 team sideswipe drivers. No, wait, Kerr is an outlaw driver. My bad. I mixed up Kerr and Smeal. I'm not sure how I did that, but... So, Team Sideswipe gets around Team Outlaw there. Painter in fourth, another Team Outlaw car. So, Wanting the highest Team Sideswipe car at the moment. Terry Gabbard is sitting in seventh behind Kerr, but in front of Bryn Roberts and Bradley Wright. A little bit of contact there between Roberts and Wright. The battle for 7th place. Roberts and Garrett still going at it side by side. Gabbard drops down in ninth place. Estes trying to close in on Gaiman. Estes pedaling lap 29. Gaiman is yet to pit at all this race. Here's the battle for the race lead. Estes and Gaiman. Had a really good green flag run so far. Estes is there. Still side by side. Gaiman's still defending pretty well from Estes at a turn 2. Side by side. Estes will clear Gaiman here out of 1 and 2. You know, Gaiman, I think Gaiman, wow, English is telling me there. Gaiman gave him a little bit of a bump there between 1 and 2. Alrighty. Gaiman's not giving up the lead here. He's not giving up this lead fight. And that is Fisher that's about to be lapped here. You'll be the first car 1 lap down, it looks like. Gaiman hanging in there with Estes. Despite Estes being on 29 lap fresher tires. So stage 1 was quite a bit messy, but stage 2 has been really clean so far. Estes and Gaiman still trying to battle it out for the lead here. Gaiman holding on older tires, and I almost jinxed it right there. Gaiman almost lost it, looped it at 2. Wansing sits 3rd. Bren Roberts in 4th, Fetter Place 5th, Painter in 6th. Gaiman, Fetter Place, and Painter have not yet pit. Neither has Jason Alexander. Everyone else has come in at least once. Bren Roberts has been down pit lane 3 times. Tommy Withers has been down pit lane 4 times. Connie has been down 3 times. Breo's been down twice. Ten laps to go until the end of stage 2. Gaiman comes down pit lane. Painter comes down pit lane. So will Fetter Place. So Estes in the lead, Wansing 2nd, Roberts 3rd, Briley Wright 4th, behind Bren Roberts, Terry Gabbard 5th, Hunbrink 6th. Roberts getting around. Gaiman's getting around Roberts here, so only 2 cars ahead of him that are on the lead lap before he gets his lap back, which he desperately wants to do before the end of stage 2. There's Wansing, that's one of them. If he can race his way back to the lead lap before the end of the stage, it sets him up pretty well. He just has to really race his way through it. And he does. So Gannon's back on lead lap. Fetter Place trying to do the same, but it looks like he will be the first car 1 lap down when the stage break comes to an end. I mean, the 2 to go in stage 2 here. Coming through the white flag, 1 to go. Hearing some still not good on fuel. That would not be surprising, given how this race is shaping up. Everyone's got at least one more stop in this race. And the way it's looking, if stage 3 goes anything like stage 2 has, then no one can go through stage 3 without another pit stop. But coming around the final corner to end stage 2, Toby Estes takes another stage win. He wins stage 2 over Seth Wansing, Bren Roberts, Briley Wright, and Jonathan Homebrink. Josh Gaiman in 10th will get the last stage point and is on the lead lap to do it too. So everyone comes down pit lane, including Joshua Gaiman. There's Catania, who will get the lucky dog, I believe. And a lot of cars are going to try to get the wave around here to get a lap back. So third place is going to try to get a lap back here. Toby Estes is the race leader. But there's a lot of cars in front of him trying to get a lap back here. Alrighty, so it's going to put 15 cars back on the lead lap here. Alrighty. To go back at it. Pace car is in pit lane. And away we go. Green flag back in the air to start stage 3. It's Estes, Roberts, Wansing, Gaiman in top 4. Estes in the race lead. Roberts in second. Wansing third. Gaiman in fourth. He's got a little bit of work to do to get up to the race lead again, where he spent most of the first half of the race. See probably right in fifth, as it's largely single file at the moment. And yellows come out, and there's a problem out of turn 2. Meals in it. Looks like it's Andrews, Fisher also involved. This is going into turn 1. Oh, he just lost it on his own there. Ooh. Hard hit by Fisher. But that's going to do a lot of damage to Smeal's car. Andrews and Fisher all likely going to have to be on pit lane for an extensive amount of time for damage repairs. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again here. "16 cars on lead lap." John Smeal back on the lead lap. It's Estes, Roberts, Gaiman, Wanzing, and Hohenbrink. Gaiman's up to third. Withers is spun. That's a trouble for James Kerr. Off track there. Withers had an issue of his own. There's Kerr. Hohenbrink also had an issue there. And there's another issue, and that's going to be a hard contact with the wall on the inside once again. Vestas leads over Roberts, over Gaiman, over Wanzing. Then there's a gap between Wanzing and Blankenship for fifth. One that make a pretty safe bet that whoever wins this race is going to be out of your top five. Side by side, it's Estes and Roberts. Roberts sails through. Gaiman's there as well. Estes and Roberts still battling at it. Rick Gaiman's watching this battle. The Roberts still leads over Estes over Gaiman. Wanzing slowly sloping backwards here. There's Blankenship in fifth. Bradley Wright sitting in sixth. Looking at the front of the field, here's Bryn Roberts. Running a partial season in Indy Arts. He's got a podium to his name so far. Trying to add to it with a win here. Was leading on the final lap at Atlanta last week as the yellow comes out. John Smeal. Here's what on the John Smeal. He's ahead of Ryan Pennell. Oh, we got tagged by Pennell. Pennell missed the corner. It looked like Matthew Bounds also kind of missed the corner, but he was behind Pennell, so Pennell was the one that drew the contact. Take another look at it here. You can see that Pennell just locks up. Sends it in, locks it up, and yeah. And Matthew Bounds also missed the corner pretty hard and managed to get away with it. Gonna be an interesting one. Looks like we're gonna end up with 17 cars on the lead lap. It's gonna be Roberts and Estes, Wansing and Wright. Top four for this 8th restart. Alright, so we are 1 to green here on the 8th restart. You saw a lot of drivers in the top 5 elected to stay on the outside. So those that elected to use the inside lane got to move up. So Wansing will be on the front row here alongside Bryn Roberts. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again here in New Hampshire. And yellow's back out. Catania's in it. Thought somebody else was involved. Here's the restart. And oh yeah. And it was. Not sure who that was. See if we can go back and look at it. It would have been Thomas Andrews. Andrews and Breo. So, ninth caution will take us past the 2/3 mark. We'll cross the lap 100 under yellow here. This is going to be interesting. So that'll give Jeremy Breo one of his laps back, I believe. Actually, no, it'll go to, I think, Ryan Pinnell, actually. Green flag back in the air. It's Roberts and Alexander. Alexander second, Bradley Wright third. Jonathan Homebrink in fourth. Blankenship in fifth. 48 laps to go. Yellow's back out, and you see why. Nell's in it. And he's not the only one. Here's what happened again on the restart here. Catania's in it. We know Pinnell's in it. We're not sure who else is in it. So we're going to let it play out here. Looks like it started with Estes and Smeal. So here's a far away look at it. Oh, Estes and Smeal just kind of flipped each other there. And it just log jammed everybody. So make this caution number 10. So 10th caution. So we're averaging a caution every 10 laps or so. Been a messy one. That is for sure. You do not want to be on the fly in the wall for the drivers' meeting after this one. Alrighty. About to go back at it. Slowly running out of cars to wreck. Everyone comes out a little bit. Green flag is out. We're back at it here. And there's another crash. Smeal's in it. Toby Estes is in it. Alrighty. So 11 caution of the race. Here's what happened. Smeal's running wide. Estes is there. Estes clips Smeal. Almost took out Wanzing. Kerr was involved. And Smeal took a pretty decent shot to the inside wall. Alrighty. 11 cautions and 111 laps. Not a good trip. Looks like we're getting ready to go back racing here. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again. It's Bradley right into Alexander now at the front of the field. The right leads over Alexander and cautions out again, Matthew Bounds. And it looks like the back of that car is not in the best of shape. In fact, he's going to have to tow back to pit lane. Here's why. Ooh, got Wanzing. Wanzing saves it. But Bounds overcorrects it in front of Catania and sends it the other way. Alright, so Bradley Wright comes in, so will Alexander, so will Gaiman, so Blankenship will inherit the race lead here. Then it's Brendan Fetter place, Dustin Painter. Tommy Withers will be up to 4th, Brendan Roberts back to 5th, Kerr 6th, Estes 7th, Humbrink 8th, Wanzing 9th, and Jeremy Brayo back on the lead lap somehow in the 10th position. He's going to get his lucky dog back here. So now he's back on the lead lap officially. The thing is that there's not a whole lot to talk about. The strategy calls that could have been made here. We saw how stage 2 went. With stage 3, it's been more like stage 1. The strategy went out the window. It's really just about trying to take a gamble, trying to take a guess as to when the last caution is. I don't think this is it. On a personal opinion of note, I don't believe this is the last yellow. If trends have anything to be believed, this is not the last yellow. Statistically speaking, I see about 3 more. So everyone at this point has to sort of gamble it out. You're on lap 117. You have 3 laps to go. You're averaging a caution fewer than every 10 laps. It is cautions in bunches, is what it is. When does the bunch of cautions end, and when does the race to the finish begin? That's the next question you have to sort of ask in this situation. I don't have the answer. I don't think most of the drivers know. And at this point, I think it's going to kind of be fed on now by the fact that a lot of drivers are now impatient. This race has been going on way longer than it needed to be. These caution laps are 66 seconds long, 1 minute and 6 seconds. An average race lap here is 31 seconds. Think about all the laps that have been run under yellow, and there are a lot. 12, you say 12 is about 4 laps per caution. You can easily say 48 to 50 caution laps so far in this race. This race will be over if those cautions didn't exist. But these drivers are in a position now where, you know, a top 10 is realistically possible if you're in the top 14 or even if you're just still running. You still have a chance at a top 10 if things continue to go south. So the incentive to actually to behave here in these last 33 laps are minimal. Those Blankenship, Fetter Place, Painter, and Roberts, top 4. Then it's Withers and Kerr. Green flags back in the air. Blankenship with a good run. The outside lane's been the lane to start in. All race long. And this is no exception. And there's contact further back. And that's another yellow. That's Kerr. That's Kerr, Alexander, and Brayo looks like he missed most of it. No, he did not. He definitely did not. There is some long-term damage. His race is pretty much over, I think. He has no turning whatsoever. Yeah, he's done. Here's what happened. Kerr came to a spin. We missed Brayo's part of the accident there. So he tags. I believe this is Smealy tags. No, it's not Smeal. No, it's Alexander he tags. And there's the damage. Ooh. Yeah, that would do a lot of damage to the car. And he's trying to steer, and nothing. Yeah, so that's pretty much race done for Bray. We're averaging a caution every 9 laps. Not pretty. This is definitely a race of survival. And right now, Jacob Blankenship, Dustin Painter, Brandon Federplace, Brent Roberts are surviving the best. Joshua Gaiman in 5th. Toby Estes has had a pretty rough race, but he's still sitting in the top 6. Jonathan Homebrink, 7th. Bradley Wright, 8th. Seth Wansing, 9th. Tommy Withers in 10th. There's 12 cars on the lead lap. Jeremy Breo somehow still rolling. He has only lost 1 lap. Don't ask me how. He has been punched around all over the place. Breo's been involved in a lot of stuff that's not been his fault. And he's still pushing and pushing and pushing. But it has been a gut punch for that 74 car all race long. I believe they have moved to a single file restart. I believe is what they've done. That's what it looks like at the moment. It looks like they moved to a single file restart because of how everything's been these past few restarts. Green flag back in the air. Single file restart. Blankenship, Painter, Federplace, Roberts, top 4. "26 laps to go here in New Hampshire." Blankenship looking for his 3rd race win of the season. Painter looking for his 1st. That's Roberts with a wild ride down the back straightaway. Saves it, but drops down to 10th and will drop down further. Painter looking for his 1st race win of the season at a track he is pretty familiar with. His teammates, Tom Sears and Donald Ray, have already won this season. Ray's not present, neither is Tom Sears. And Painter drifts up. Gaiman in 2nd. Fifth place battling for 3rd. There's a problem, that's Painter. Watch out, watch out. Painter's in 12th. It was Blankenship that had an issue, and Painter had an issue as well. Gaiman's to the lead of the race. Then it's Brandon Federplace, then it's Toby Estes. With less than 25 to go, there's a bumper between the 80 and the 19. That's a car in trouble. That's Roberts again. And he's not going to save it this time. Gaiman with 1.6 over Toby Estes. Brandon Fetter placed in third. Jonathan Homebrink in fourth. That's Painter in pit lane. There's Toby Estes trying to hold off everyone behind him for second place. "16 laps to go. That per second still pretty intense." James Courage had an issue, but he is back rolling. It's Estes in better place, second and third. Joshua Gaiman walking away. 2.6 is the gap. $15 to go. Now for fifth between Humbrink and Wansing. A little further down the order. Hornbrink stepping out a little bit. So holding on to 4th place still. As we reach 11 to go. Side-by-side battle. This is for second. This is in third place. Still side-by-side battling. Better place getting the advantage out of turn 2. Does he clear? He does clear. So this was the battle for second. Better Place has it right now. And Estes take it back. Homebrink sitting in 4th. Wansing sitting in 5th. Gaiman is well and truly away with this one unless the late yellow comes out. It's his to lose. Better Place trying to walk away with 2nd place. Kobe S is trying to get 3rd. Better Place almost lost it. That was almost a disaster for the 80. But he holds on. Sits in the 2nd position still, but now Estes has momentum. 4 to go. Still this battle. Coming to 3 laps to go. Better Place running a little bit higher. Estes looking in the inside. Taking a peek. 2 laps to go. Better place holding on to that second place for dear life. That's Jason Alexander in front of him. If there's a battle for second place, it's between the 80 and the 19. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go for Joshua Gaiman. Been a rough race, but a fairly clean ending. Alexander's in the wall. Better place second, Estes third. That's how they sit entering turn 3. Not likely to change here. Coming out of the final corner for the last time. Joshua Gaiman, once again, a race winner. He wins at New Hampshire. Better place second, Estes third. Wansing finished behind Hohenbrink. Riley Wright finished 6th. Withers will take 7th. 8th place, Brendan Roberts. Catania will finish 9th. James Kerr will finish in the 10th spot. Jacob Blankenship will only be able to manage an 11th place finish. Justin Painter 12th. But it's all eyes on Joshua Gaiman, race winner, here in Loudon. So Josh Gaiman, the race winner here in New Hampshire. That was a rough one. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and talk to our race winner, Joshua Gaiman here. Josh is claimed from the Arch Racing booth. You got a copy?
I got you, man.
Alrighty, that was a very rough race, but you were one of the fastest all race long. Sort of walk us through it. That last restart sort of just gave you everything you needed for that. What was going on out there today?
I think it was a lot of guys trying to run the seams, and you just can't do that here. The banking changes way too much, and I don't know. I put myself on a different strategy. You know, I ran like 60 laps on the first set of tires, and just to see what I could do if I had to do a really long run. And it definitely worked out for me to just keep me out of the wrecks.
Yeah, it was chaos. Like that second stage, it was like, okay, it's interesting. It went green all the way. Obviously, you had to pit because we were kind of banking on more yellows during stage 2, and it didn't happen. But getting back in stage 3, running the transition was you said was difficult. With how you were running, was the car? It seemed like people were either just sending it too deep or they were loose. Was it a loose car today for you guys?
It's definitely really easy to send it in way too easy, or way too hard, I should say. But I wasn't having too much problem on the entry. The exit is extremely loose though. From like center off, it wants to really like set on the right rear and rotate. So that was definitely something to overcome during like practice and everything. I just stopped shifting. that was my remedy, is to just keep the car in fourth the whole race. Just ride the rev limiter going down the straightaway. If on a good lap, I'd be hitting it right before the 4 sign going into the corner and just ride it all the way to the 2 because, screw it. I don't know. It worked.
So back in victory lane, you bring the blue and yellow back to victory lane with 213 somewhere. It doesn't get a lot easier. If I look at the next couple races, gonna be a bit interesting. Next few races are. So we went through, obviously, just went through New Hampshire, Pocono next week, and Indy Road Course after that. That's gonna be a couple rough races. Any ideas of what to kind of expect going into the next couple weeks?
Well, we just ran Pocono in the trucks last night, so if it's anything like that, it's gonna be pretty much no cautions, or maybe like one caution and really really boring. But I suspect this car is gonna be a handful there, to be honest, with the way a couple of the bumps on that track react. The Indy Road Course, though, I've never driven this car there at all. Actually, I've never driven a stock car at the Indy Road Course, let alone this car. So that's gonna be like a whole week of practice for me.
So New Hampshire out of the way. That's some more bonus points for you for the playoffs here. Getting through this, like compared to some of the earlier races, was this car as difficult as what we saw early on, or is it just largely just people just overestimated things today going into? Because it's reminded me a lot of like Phoenix, as far as how difficult it seemed to be for everybody. Is Phoenix sort of like a reminiscent thing? Like, was Phoenix a similar vibe for you guys?
I think I got taken out really early in that race, to be honest, so I can't really tell you. Um, the car was
Everyone
definitely
made it pretty far today. It just
yeah,
once the caution started everyone seemed to
yeah.
be involved in something, and then it's just as the race went on, people just slowly started falling
Yeah,
out. But
the from what I remember of Phoenix, though, the car was like unbelievably just exponentially harder to drive back then. They did whatever they did with the aero, and now honestly, on higher speed stuff, the car is so much easier to drive. It's way more stable. So I mean, they're definitely going in the right way with it. There's little things here and there that I'd like to see get improved, like coming off the corners, it likes to just lay on the left rear and snap sideways on you, and I think that's what the car really suffers from here. Just like Phoenix, it pretty much did the same thing, but I think that might just be the independent rear end. It's just acts a little silly sometimes.
well, Pocono and Indy Road Course coming up. We know how good you are on road courses, and you've been fast just at some point every weekend. So definitely can't catch up for Pocono. Before we let you go, it's been a very long race. If there's anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours, man. Congrats on a well-earned win. Survival of the fittest tonight, and you were definitely the fastest of those. So, the floor is yours, man. Congrats.
Yeah, definitely big shout out to 213 somewhere, for bringing me on and being on the car. I feel like they're good luck at this point because I think I've got 2 wins since I put them on the car. So I'll take it, man.
Right?
Any win's good. As the admins handled tonight very well, I got to be honest. There's a couple issues here and there, but the main guys that were overlooking the race did a great job at keeping everyone as cool as possible. As cool as I guess as anybody can be in a situation like that. But yeah, I mean, you always put on a good broadcast, so definitely, big props to you for that.
Well, man, congratulations on another race win. I believe this is 3 on the year for you.
Something like that.
I think so because it's either 2 or 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah, because I rode America and Bristol. Yeah.
Yeah, Road America, Bristol, and Niner Nights. So you're starting to get the short ovals pretty well hammered down. Next short oval's Richmond, so get ready for that one. So congrats, man, on the race win. Definitely a long race, but you've earned you've earned it, and yeah, we'll see you at Pocono.
Absolutely. I'll be
Have a
there.
good one.
You too.
All right, that was Josh Gaiman, our race winner. Not a whole lot we could really ask because there wasn't a lot of racing tonight. Just trying to get a gauge as to what happened with this race today. But the drivers on the podium largely stayed out of all of it. Coming up next on the interview list will be Brandon Fetterplace. I believe this is his first podium. Hey Clayton, hey Brandon, this is Clayton from the RX Racing booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going?
Uh, a rough race. And we kind of expected it was going to be a rough race. You were pretty consistent all race long, but we asked Josh sort of what he thought the issue was. What was going on out there today, and how do you how did you kind of approach things to kind of set you out there differently? Because you were always like top 5, top 6 throughout the race.
Um, really, I mean, I've ran this track a couple of times in this car, so I knew that the tire fall off is massive in these cars. If you start running hot laps, I mean, your tires will burn up pretty quick. So I tried to manage braking early, hitting my marks, just kind of taking it easy, and trying to be there for the end.
It definitely showed. You were battling there with Toby Estes and Jonathan Owenbrink and Seth Wanting. It was a nice little four-way battle there for second because Josh just kind of walked away there at the end. Battling there with Toby, definitely kind of showed you can put your elbows out a little bit. Looking forward, you look at Pocono and the road course the next couple races. Probably going to be equal or greater challenges there, especially with the road course at Indy. Just looking sort of at those next two races compared to what we had tonight, which was one of the toughest we've had in a while. Any idea of what you're sort of preparing for with Pocono next week going forward?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I've never raced there. I'm pretty new to iRacing, so I got to go get the track and go do some test laps. But it's pretty much just going to be managing tires, and I'm sure fuel is going to be a big thing. So just try to stay out of trouble and hope for a good points day.
Well, if you can't get much better than this, other than being on the top spot. So if we can see him on the podium more after what the insanity has been the last couple races, it's definitely showing that you're doing something right. Before we let you go, it's been a long night. Long amount of cautions there. But before we let you go, the floor is yours, man. If there's anyone you want to shout out, do you want to say thank you to? It's something we sort of give everyone that finished on the podium for these races. But the floor is yours. Congrats on the second place. Definitely well earned there with that battle with Toby. Definitely well earned. Fantastic to be able to see you sort of put elbows out there at the end and race it out.
Yeah, Toby, that was an amazing race. I mean, that was really hard fought. Um, but I'd like to thank my friends and family that have tuned in to the stream. I'd like to thank you guys for streaming the race, and just thanks to the league and all my fellow racers for all the hard racing. And I guess I'll see y'all next week.
Yeah. We'll see you for Pocono. Tricky Triangle. Let's see what you can do. You've been impressive every race you've been in so far. So no pressure, but starting to see that 80 up front more and more. It's becoming a bit of a trend there. So good luck. We'll hope to see more of you here in the next few races.
I appreciate it, man. I'm sure gonna give it all that I got.
Have a good night, man. Congrats on the
Hey, you
podium.
too.
All right, that was Brandon Fetterplace, our second place finisher here in New Hampshire. We're gonna talk to Toby Estes. He finished third. Really good battle between him and Brandon there at the end of the race. So we're gonna talk to him here in just a second. Alrighty. Toby, this is Clayton from the RX Racing booth. You got a copy?
I sure do. What's going on, buddy?
Trying to dissect how difficult this race was for everybody. You kind of were up and down throughout the race. You really needed to be at the end there, but it wasn't clear sailing for you. Sort of just break it down there, like break down sort of like what the issues were with the car going into the day, how you were able to adjust because you had to make an adjustment to get back up to the front there. I think you started 18th. You started pretty far back there. Gained 15 spots to finish third. But sort of what did you have to deal with early on, and how were you having to adjust this race today?
This race is with this car, or even with the latest update, this track just for me personally, it just wasn't good. I could try to save tires in the beginning of the run, and it still wouldn't have it at the end. Usually, I set my brake bias pretty aggressive towards the rear, but every time I did that, I lost momentum every time. Definitely, probably personally, one of the hardest tracks I've raced all year. I'm not even gonna lie.
Really? So I asked Josh this because he was at Phoenix. So you think this is this is harder than Phoenix or Bristol?
Coming out of turn two, man, if you're not really good on the throttle, especially in the late run, you're gonna loop it every time. I mean, this track, I mean, it's just a driver's track. If a driver's good at this track, then he's gonna be good. And Joshua, he was hats off to him. I mean, he was quick the entire race. There at the end, me and Brandon was racing. Hats off to him. Very clean. I haven't raced around him a lot, but definitely gained a lot of respect towards him this race because we were bumper to bumper there sometimes.
Yeah, you and Brandon put on an amazing race. Wanting was in there. Jonathan Holmbrick was in there as well. It was a nice little 4-car battle there. Once we got that final green flag run in, um, we talk about tracks that work, tracks that don't. This track was obviously difficult for a lot of people. Um, Looking at the next two races, I'd say in particular the next two races because I think Michigan will be fine. Pocono and the Indy Road Course. Everyone seems to have the general consensus right now that those two races are going to be pretty challenging. Any ideas to what everyone's going to be looking forward to the next couple weeks, especially at Pocono next week, where every corner is going to be different, and it's a track notoriously difficult to prepare for. Any ideas, sort of, what's going to be expected going into next week?
I mean, honestly, we're getting pretty close, to where the first cutoff is. A lot of drivers are running uh, a lot more aggressive, I'd say. Um, I mean, this is what you expect. I mean, people's gonna stop giving as much and stop taking as much. But the next, I'm looking forward to Pocono. Honestly, I'm better at Pocono, but I mean, hats off. I mean, everybody had a challenge this race. It seemed like, whether tight end or loose off or not being able to save the tires. But I mean, regardless, it's a hard track. I mean, this is a really, really hard track. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it's probably one of my hardest tracks that I run personally. But um, I mean, I hate it for Briley because he took tires late there at the end, and I don't know exactly what happened to him if he got caught up in some traffic. But it was just a hard track. I'm more than happy to finish third here today.
Well, Toby, it was fantastic seeing you sort of charge to the field. Um, it's been a long, long race. That race in itself. But look at the time that we've been at it. Almost an hour and a half. So one of the longer races we've run this season, and that says something given we've been to Daytona for 250 miles. We've done a lot of interesting races. But before I let you go to enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening and sort of relax here, the floor is yours, man. Congrats on the podium. If there's anyone you want to shout out and you want to say thank you to, obviously you're part of the Bluegrass Bandits. Bradley had a pretty good race. He finished sixth. But if there's anyone you want to shout out, man, the floor is yours. Congrats on the podium.
Yeah, well, it's I was just sitting here thinking where Bradley finished. So, I mean, got a top 5 and a top 10 for the Bluegrass Bandit. That's always good. He's been working his butt off. He really has, trying to learn the car, learn every track. So I mean, he's newer to iRacing too. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic for him. I mean, he's got speed. He's just got to learn how to do it. I help him out some, and he helps me out some. I mean, I've been at it for like 2.5 years now, and he still teaches me things that I don't necessarily know or haven't grasped. But again, hats off to the guy I was racing there for a second. I mean, clean racing's what you expect, but everybody hits bumpers every now and then. But all around, it sucks that we had to go to single file racing there at the end. But I hope it was still a good show. Shout out to all the admins and of course to you, Clayton. I don't know how you do this. I jumped in the booth with you that one day, and I'm like 5 minutes in and already ran out of stuff to talk about.
Tonight was difficult, and I actually mentioned it. Like a lot of the stuff that I kind of key on, like strategy and everything, kind of was thrown out the window about lap 100. So it was kind of like, okay, guessing when this would go green again. It was a rough one. I definitely a rougher job for all the admins having to go through race control and figure out who did what tonight. That's gonna be rough for them. So my thoughts are with them, but I appreciate it, man. These races happen, but hopefully Pocono next week's a better race, and hopefully that number 19's bound for the race win again.
Yeah. Also, one more shout out. I know Ryan changed, or one of the admins changed the tire setup for this race. I think they cut us a tire short. Hats off, definitely a great call because it was some really good racing. I hope they keep that in the back of their minds, going on with the rest of the season. This, personally, it threw. I think it made the racing better, strategies better. That was definitely a good call. So hats off to them guys for making that call.
Yeah, you saw that in the middle phase too, where people kind of determined what they were going to do pretty early on, and they kind of just stuck with it. That's actually a really good call. Hopefully they've taken note of that, and if we see it at Pocono, which is going to be rough on tires, it's going to be an even more interesting race. So
Yeah, that was a great call. Like I didn't expect it to have that big of an impact coming into this race, honestly, but I mean everybody was having an extra set at the end of the race all through the beginning of the season, and with him cutting those back or whoever did it, that was a great call. It really was.
well, Toby, congrats on the third place, another podium. Obviously, you've already locked yourself into the playoffs. You got your race wins, but bonus points don't hurt. You won stage 2, so those bonus points help as well. But Pocono next week, man, like, tear it down, man. Congrats on the podium, and we'll see you at Pocono.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Have a good night, man. That was Toby. Yes, is our third place finisher here in New Hampshire. So we're going to take the time here now to kind of run down the final results here of this race. 19 races done. 7 races left until the chase begins. Josh Gaiman wins his third race of the season. At a Brandon Fetter place and Toby Estes, they rounded out the podium. Jonathan Homebrink finished 4th. Then it was Seth Wansing in 5th place. 6th place for Briley Wright. 7th place Tommy Withers. Bryn Roberts finished 8th place after being wrecked at Atlanta on the final lap. Tristan Catania in 9th place. 10th, James Kerr. He'll round out the top 10 in that number 75 machine for Team Outlaw. Jacob Blankenship finished 11th, just outside the top 10. Spent most of his race in the top 2 spots, just couldn't finish there. Dustin Painter finished off the lead lap 1 lap down after running up in the top 3 late in the race. Couldn't hold on to it, spun out, and the race went downhill from there for Dustin Painter. Jason Alexander, 53, held on to survive. Finished 4 laps down in the 53 for Bluegrass Bandits. Ryan Pinnell finished 14th for Team Sideswipe. Jeremy Breo finished 15th after suffering a pretty catastrophic accident that tore up the suspension on both of the front sides of his car. Terry Gabbard finished 16th out of John Smeal, and Thomas Andrews finishing in the 18th spot. Scrolling all the way down to the final few positions, 19th Matthew Bounds, Nick Fisher 20th, Kevin Feemster 21st, Patrick Allen in 22nd. Tommy Reynolds did not start today's main event. He'll be classified as 23rd. That'll do it for us here at New Hampshire. A very long race, very complicated and challenging race. Next up, Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. We'll see you then. Sunday, 6:50 p.m. We'll go live then. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy. Try to be safe this week. Take care of yourselves.